Welcome to Retail Therapy, a special segment on Rooted in Retail. And I'm so excited for this episode. Today, my guest is Michelle Smith with Piccolo Mondo Toys. And I've known Michelle for many years, and I'm just so excited that she's here and she's opening up and she's being vulnerable and she's sharing because I know that she can help other retailers in what she's going through too. Because if you have this pull for, maybe you feel like, I want to do a certain thing or I want to show up a certain way, but I'm just not, or I'm holding myself back, or sometimes those voices in our head are just louder than what our heart is pulling us to do and what we really want. That's just aligned with us. In this episode, I think you'll find a lot of value in. And Rhonda, my resident retail therapist for our beta test here, is here, and she gives some really great tools for Michelle and some really great reminders on how she can be thinking and talking to herself and things that she can do to really help support her that we can all use too. I'm not kidding. I love being a fly on the wall for these sessions because I get so much value out of them, even though I'm not the one in the hot seat. So I know because I got a lot of value, and there was like some moments of like, yes, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that. I feel like you're going to feel the same way too. So I'm so excited for you to listen in. Before we dive in, just real quick, in case you haven't listened to a retail therapy session before, I want to introduce you to my therapist, Ronda Renée. Ronda Renée is the founder of Divine Navigation, as well as the creator of the Divine Coordinates Process and Business in Your Soul program. She has led thousands of soul-filled success and satisfaction through alignment with their soul. And something that Rhonda says that I absolutely love is we advise business owners and leaders on unleveling their life and business without having to level the one they already have, which I so love. You can learn more about Rhonda at divinenavigation.com. And let's dive into today's episode. Michelle and Rhonda, welcome to Retail Therapy. I am so excited that we're back for another one of our special segments on Rooted in Retail. And before we dive in, I just want to say that Rhonda and myself are not certified therapists. We are just playing one on TV, like Rhonda likes to say. And we are just here to support, but we are so excited for this conversation with Michelle Smith, who I've known for many years. And Michelle, before we dive in, will you just take a couple minutes and tell everyone a little bit about you and your store?
Yeah, I am a retail store owner, but now I'm considered a multi-passionate entrepreneur because I'm trying not to think of only in retail. I don't want to put myself in a box, but basically I have 3 stores in Portland, Oregon, and we specialize in innovative toys and games, puzzles, dolls, all sorts of playthings for all ages.
Awesome. And Michelle, we've worked with each other for a few years, and which has been so fun. I feel like I have seen such a transformation of you and of what you've done with your business and your marketing and all the things. But when we were preparing for retail therapy, you were top of mind for me because we've had discussions on our own about just some of the challenges that you've had with putting yourself out there. I mean, a lot of retailers can relate to you. It's not comfortable being on camera and doing social media and really like just putting ourselves out there. It takes a lot of courage. And you have found that courage over the years. And I know that it possibly is something that's still challenging. There's some history too of teasing that you shared with me when you were a kid. And so when I reached out to you and you said, yes, I'm willing to share, I was so grateful. So really grateful that you're here and willing to open up. And I'm going to turn the tables over to you and Rhonda. And basically, Michelle, if you'll start and just share, what is the challenge that you'd want some therapy on today?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely have grown over the years. I would say that my confidence has been a bit of a roller coaster over the years. When I was a kid, I was new to a small community, and I can definitely look back and go, okay, I wanted to fit in and blend in. And I felt a little bit like an outsider. And we're talking a small town in Oregon. I had no extreme bullying or anything like that. But the kids, I was good at sports. And when I feel the most confident when I am good at something and I'm having success. And so I was very good at sports, and that was my niche. And there were a group of boys who were all my friends, but they teased me. And they especially teased me as I was going from that tomboy into a young woman. And that was a little hard. I didn't have like name brand clothes or, my parents, we had not a lot of money. I care a lot about like sometimes my outward appearance. And I wish that I didn't care about what other people thought of me, but I do. And I tend to want people to like me. Some of these things are just now I'm thinking back going, oh, this is probably
Mm.
why I'm feeling that way. And so I still feel like I go through this time where I'm to others appear successful. I own, 3 stores. I'm in the community. I look like I got all my stuff together. And then there's this little girl inside who is like, I want to fit in and I want you to like me, but I don't quite fit in. I don't quite feel like the others. I would love to break through needing somebody else to validate where I'm going or because I feel like I'm meant for more. And then every once in a while I think, why do I think I'm special? Because I'm from this small town. So I hold myself back in a way because I don't want people to think, I don't want to be that person who's like posting all this stuff and, thinking they're an expert when I have challenges too.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Yeah. So sometimes I hold myself back. I definitely don't post personally on social media. And there's times when I'm like, oh, I'm going to break through this. I'm going to do it. And then something happens, and
Mm.
it's like, oh, it's hard. And I think there's that perfectionism sort of out there that it's like, if I'm not going to be
Mm.
perfect at it, and Crystal has helped me enormously, like unbelievably. And there was a need because it was COVID and she was telling us to go live and I got a friend and she helped me break through some things to where now I feel like, oh, I can do that, no problem. Oh, I can make a fun, Instagram reel and I can dance and I love to dance and I can learn new things. I can travel independently all over the world and I have no fear of any of that. But sometimes I still fear being judged by other people.
Mhm. So before we go into more specifics, if you could just put for me in one sentence, Michelle, what all these things you've shared, what specifically are they keeping you from? Where is it that you'd like to go that you feel like these things are inhibiting you from going to?
That's a great question. Sometimes I don't even know where I want to go, but I just feel like there's more for me. I have a bigger message of the importance of play for children and mental
Um,
health, all of the benefits of getting outside and the kind of more mindfulness that
yeah. So
and so
notice, I mean, that's a
I
much I can feel the difference. And I want you to notice what difference you feel in yourself now in tapping into that bigger vision
Mhm.
as opposed to the small version of you. What are you feeling?
Yeah. A little teary. Just a little, like again, it's that why would I be an expert in that,
Well, we'll
area?
get to that. We'll get to that
That's the
part.
tricky part.
But I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you not to run away from the teary part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, try to stay present with that as we also look at the other pieces that go into this. Because no matter what it is, and I know you're doing great, you're doing great. There's nothing wrong with tears. Tears are actually a very important role in
Yes.
our well-being, right? They're a pressure valve, they're a release valve,
Yeah.
and they indicate energy. So it can actually be go that direction because you
Yeah.
actually started to get there not from all the story about why, you might be holding back, but you actually got touched when you got in touch with that bigger vision and the purpose behind, like you just don't have a retail toy store,
Right.
right? You are supporting a movement and a mission for the importance of play for the well-being of our children and their
And
mental health.
inclusivity. So that's another big thing because children can learn by seeing, others in, puzzles and books and things. So there's a huge other mission for me, learning about other people, other cultures, not judging.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
You know, that is a huge
I didn't
part.
mean to put the words of the mission in your mouth. I was just
Oh, no, no, no,
as
no. That
as an
was
example of like, this is how we can tune out more easily anything that we're seeing as risky. When
yeah,
we're tapped in and in touch with that bigger purpose of
yeah.
why you're even running these 3 locations, it changes the game. Then
Yeah,
suddenly you're playing an entirely different game where you're not playing against anybody else.
right. I do struggle with sometimes comparing obviously comparing myself to other people. And some others can just be like, "Oh, just don't worry about what people think."
Right.
And it sounds so easy for them. And when I was a kid, I definitely cried quite a bit. I was very sensitive. And
Yeah.
that I was teased for that. So
Yeah.
that's part of this full circle thing is in my adult life trying to realize that okay, being emotional and showing my tears is not a bad thing. And I'm trying to own that. That's a strength, but it still is challenging.
But it is a strength, Michelle, because only someone with that level of empathy and compassion would be driven by this purpose that you have. It is a
Yeah.
strength. And I would invite you to claim that right now and drop the word try, because you're either doing it or you're not doing it.
This is good.
And
Write that down.
and simply say
Mm.
that statement again without the word try. However you want to
Right.
say it, to claim the superpower of your sensitivity.
Yeah. Showing my emotions makes me strong.
Nice.
How
Yeah.
about that?
Nice. Nice. And say
Or
that to yourself on a regular basis,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I really am. I am somebody who does a lot of self-care, and I'm working on, the mindfulness and taking time because I can be somebody who goes and I'm like, my mind is racing all the time.
So again, working is similar to the word trying. It means I'm not there yet.
Well, yes, you're right.
I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
our language is so fascinating, right? Not
Wow.
meaning to pick on you, but our language is so
Well,
fascinating, right? So working and
I didn't even
trying,
touch that.
not
Okay.
not useful for most people to use those words. I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it. Um,
Okay.
and to your point, it's a different experience. Meditation can happen in various ways. The key is presence. And so even skip the word meditation and just pay attention to what brings you present, because that's
Okay.
all meditation is trying to do. And when you get present, notice how much more calmer you feel and how much quieter you actually are, internally and externally. The mind quiets down, like you're more present at this moment. What
Yeah.
happened? How did you get there? Do you have an awareness?
Oh, I was like, are you asking me?
Yeah, yeah. How did you? Are you
You
aware
are.
of how you got there? Because it was a very quick shift, and it was really quite palpable.
Yeah. Well, I first of all, I did breathe. We and then I also so I know other people probably don't think about positive affirmations, but sometimes when I do like just say something to myself, like there was this quote I got in a card when I was a kid, and it said, "Every dream in your heart lies within reach if you believe in yourself." And I say it to myself on a regular basis. Like I have dreams, I have like feelings that something is meant to be. That's just how I've been from the time I was young. Like I can feel like, oh, this is the right direction for me. And I the gut feeling like I'm gonna do this. And then there's all that self-doubt that creeps in or somebody else. Cause another time I heard when I was a kid, you have such high expectations. Like as it was a bad thing. Like your expectations are like way, high. And I just thought, okay.
Yes.
But no, I have that in the back of my head. Are
So,
my expectations just too high?
who's
Like, is
who?
that what's happening?
Well, Michelle, hold on one second and consider this. Whose voice is that in your head? Do you know
It
who
was
it is?
yes, it was a
Okay.
parrot.
So there's this funny little thing about the conversations we hold with ourselves,
Yeah.
that if you're saying you in the statement, it's not actually your voice. If it was you, you'd be saying I.
Right, it's so true. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Or think about
Because yes, okay.
now,
Interesting.
think about all the people who have taken up residence in your head. Yeah. Time for some eviction notices.
Mm. Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Okay, you guys. This is good.
I have chills.
Ah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm so glad I met you, Crystal. I can't even tell you. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here. It takes a lot
Yes.
to open up. I mean, right
Yeah.
there, it sounds like you're going to be spending the weekend writing a bunch of eviction notices.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I was lucky. I am a lucky person who has a lot of gratitude to my parents who gave me the life. I mean, they had a different life than I had. They worked super hard. They didn't go to college. There's a lot of
Right.
things that I
Michelle,
am so fortunate about.
I'm gonna stop you and interrupt you
Yeah.
because right there you're discounting your own experience by protecting them. And we're not blaming them. We're just finding a source of origin for you.
Yeah.
Right? So that you can stop being, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm
And
seeing this vision of like a lasso around you. Right? It's like it's like you've been lassoed and you're being held by this tether.
Well,
And
what I think, as I think about it, I think that they didn't want me to be disappointed. Now, as a parent, I can see this in a way. Like,
yeah.
they wanted me to be happy. They were there for me. You know what I mean? I really did have very, good, loving background.
Mm,
I did have, a few trauma things that happened when I was younger. My stepdad really raised me, but I call him my dad.
yeah.
And so
So we know
there's some other cool
we
stuff.
know they had good intentions, right? Like
They did
we're
really good at.
we're assuming the law of good intent, right?
Yeah, I mean,
We're
I
assuming,
know that so many other people did not have that stability and
right.
really good, foundation. And
Or
so I just never want somebody to think that I think, "Oh
yeah.
my god, my life was
So
so bad."
but
It was not.
but here's one of the challenges that's holding you back is we're very worried about what everybody else thinks. Right? So we want to work here. If you're going to work, here's the work I would have you do is a turn inward to what I refer to as internal sourcing. Because what we're trained to do societally is externally reference. We look outside of ourselves to see how am I doing? What should I do? Who am I? And we're only ever
Yeah.
getting that in reflection. And those are always distorted. Like a mirror isn't actually what you look like to other people,
Yeah.
right? There's always a distortion. The internal awareness of that reflection is the only place to get it is within you.
Yeah.
So connecting to the other pieces that you mentioned that you're working with, whatever forms of meditation, I really focus on having people get present in their body in whatever way. Like some people love it yoga because it means to join body and breath. It's about becoming present. If walking does that for you, whatever it is, but really notice when your awareness is within you versus outside of you. And the minute you're worried about what someone else is thinking, you've
Yeah.
abandoned yourself. So
Wow.
that's the place that I feel is calling for your attention because, like you said, you have always known what was right. It's only when someone else's voice comes in and makes you doubt or makes you think, well, this is the way it's done because everyone else is doing it this way. I suppose I should do it that way. But instead, when you connect with that bigger purpose behind your stores and your online presence with that, the game changes and everybody else drops away. Isn't this a more pleasant place to be?
Yes.
What you're thinking right
I
now?
don't know, Crystal, if this was what you wanted for your podcast.
This is so good.
I mean, relating it to social media and going back, and that part of it, as I said, I broke through some of it for my business, but not for myself.
Mhm.
That's the tricky thing is like when I feel like I'm doing it for others, when I'm serving others, when I'm uplifting my community by showing them things and telling them why I believe in something, I'm helping other people and I feel totally fine with that. And, I had to break through that because I did worry like I'm going to say something wrong and I may give the wrong information. But it's when I like think about the greater message and sharing it, being vulnerable to my own story that then it's like, oof, your story, other people have had it much worse, things like that I like think about. And, it's interesting because I did this amazing program with Goldman Sachs, and I have told Crystal this. We had to go and do this presentation in New York City, and I am dressed up. I also have been struggling because over the last 18 years that I own my business, I'm now middle age. My body has changed a lot. I'm not as confident. I've gained probably 35 pounds from when I opened my store, from when I was in my 30s to now. And I look in the mirror when you talk about looking in the mirror, I don't see myself that way. But then when I look at a photo of myself, I'm like, oh my God, who is that? And then that holds me back a little because again, I'm carrying about how my external appearance looks. And,
external referencing again.
yeah. And I also have learned a lot about myself in my own with my daughter and my son. But my daughter, had some struggles with COVID, and we were in family counseling and trying to help my kids in their college transitions. My son was diagnosed with ADHD. And then as I'm trying to help my kids, I actually figured out that I have ADHD. And I was always really athletic. And so working out helped calm the mind and helped me be focused.
Right.
But I had a significant back injury that I wasn't able to do those coping skills, which I didn't even realize were coping skills. And once that went away, then I really kind of was hard for me. And then COVID hit too. And, just hard to get in a routine of. But I have been now that my kids are in college, I do spend quite a lot of time on self-care and quieting and trying to do things that are good for me and my brain. And I've learned a lot about myself in that way, and the breathing and the things like that do help me.
And so knowing that you have ADHD, which a lot of women are not actually diagnosed until middle age and later, because we have such good coping. I've got a touch of it myself. We have such good coping mechanisms. We're high achievers, highly creative. These are all also superpowers. So coping strategies aren't always a bad thing, right? Just knowing who you are, how you work is why moving meditation speaks to you more than a seated meditation. And I would just drop all of that anyway and just think of it as centering, right? Like, how can you get more present with yourself? Because even calling it meditation feels like some sort of external reference in this regard. This is going to be a practice that I'm going to invite you to continue to do, Michelle. And with Crystal's permission, if we can have Michelle's details, I'm going to gift you the 21-day energetic success activation experience. It's a self-paced program that you can take yourself through. Within 2-3 days, we're going to feel more present and more powerful. And that's only the first few days. So
that's amazing. I mean, I work on this. When I say I'm working on it, I'm doing things. Right? I will
intent in this direction.
Appreciate this.
Yes.
I will appreciate this. Yeah. And, I do believe in continuous improvement. So there's times when this is where my confidence is going, as I learn about ADHD and I see, and I look back at myself when I was a kid and how I cared about other people and how I wanted to fit in, but yet I didn't feel like I fit in. And I actually think that have you heard of, I just am learning about it, but RSD, where you have that rejection sensitivity.
Dysphoria. Yes.
Dysphoria.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. That's probably definitely something in there. Yeah, but I was formally diagnosed with ADHD, but we didn't explore the R's.
Well, the thing is that these diagnoses and labels can help us to understand ourselves and work with ourselves, and also be careful not to just put yourself in another box, right?
Absolutely.
In a different kind of box. So with a few practices, it'll help support you more and more in that, because again, the minute you're thinking about what are they thinking of me, which is when you're afraid, I can almost guarantee it, that's when you're more afraid to go up to somebody, introduce yourself, is when you're worried about what are they thinking of me. In those times when you feel confident, you're within yourself enough, that's not a concern. For whatever it is that created that, I want to show you how to create that continuously, not constantly. We talk about this a lot at Divine Navigation. Consistency, not constancy, because we're setting ourselves up when we think we're going to show up exactly the same 100% of the time. We're human, right? We have ebbs and flows in our energy. We have things that are going on in our life that are impacting how we show up. The key is to be centered in ourselves and compassionate with ourselves. That gives us the greatest opportunity to connect with other people and make the contribution that you're wanting to make, that you're called to make through your stores.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Definitely.
I love, if I could just add a little here, Michelle, I love how you just received that. Like, I really felt you received that, because I've just been a fly on the wall over here. And I think that there might be an opportunity to receive a little more instead of kind of the next.
Right.
And the working on and the trying. And it's not like you're trying to prove anything of like, I do self-care and I do these things. It's like, you want us to know, hey, but I do these things. I believe in it and I'm here.
Yes.
And which I love. That's one thing I love about you. And because you're so committed, like you want to grow as a human, like you want to be there for the people in your lives and for you. And so,
and I want to lift others up with me. That's part of my thing too, like whether it's my kids. And so I never want to use the ADHD or like, again, even the thought of RSD as it's not that, it's just understanding and giving myself grace a little bit and like, okay, that sort of makes sense. So now knowing that, what things could I do that would help me help other people too.
But a rising tide floats all boats. So the more you take care of you, the more available you're going to be to support other people. And we actually don't even have to effort to do that.
Okay.
Right? When we're fully being our contribution, they're going to receive some of it. We don't have to work to give it. Okay. It's there and available from us. And I echo what Crystal, I think, is communicating in the receiving piece is letting, and this is why I said like that centered and compassionate with yourself and not looking for the next thing, but just fully being in the receiving at the moment, because ironically, a lot of those other things will just completely dissipate and transmute themselves. They will be non-issues anymore if you're not looking for them, because you're so centered and compassionate and connected to your contribution.
Cool. And I interrupted you, Crystal. So what were you saying? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, it's just of receiving, which Rhonda then just said something really beautiful there. And then something that really was a highlight for me here that I kind of want to double tap on is, Rhonda, you said something about abandoning yourself, like of however you're saying how you should do this and you should do that, and how other people are coming in and influencing. And when that happens, Michelle, you abandon yourself. And I just think, I bet people listening, like we probably all are abandoning ourselves every single day, probably multiple times a day. And I just am sitting here like thinking about that and how I do this. And if we can just refocus and not abandon ourselves, how much more we can give ourselves, obviously, and how I just feel like it feels like a easier life, like it's easier to be a part of. And then, of course, like you're just saying, and then we rise all tides, or whatever. I always mess up that. We rise all the boats, but we help everybody.
We're in that lifts all the boats or something.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. We're in a better place. But I just wanted to double tap on the abandon yourself, because that was a pretty big thing.
Yeah. And it was so interesting is like, again, in my program that I did last year with Goldman Sachs, and I had to go and do this presentation, it's those types of situations that are really like speaking in front of large But I did that. I have a business degree. I had to do speeches. I was in the consumer electronics. I did presentations. I had no fear. But then if it's about something that's really close to me, that is when it's harder for me to give a speech in front of others. Or again, I'm worried about how what other people think. And this one colleague who was doing the same program, she's younger than me, and she said, I just wish you saw people or you saw yourself how I see you. That just hit me like, I want you to see yourself how I see you. And I am really good at being a cheerleader for other people. I mean, I really do. If I believe in something, I am a great wingman, I think. Sometimes I have a hard time advocating for myself in not every situation, but just again, that's that. I don't want to be a bragger. I don't want to look like that person, who thinks they're an expert or something. And that's what I want to break through. That's the
Yeah, I was
part where
exactly. It's the same answer. Honestly, it's the
giving my
same answer
permission to own
because
my
it's
experience
all an
in a way.
inside game, right? Think of something that you absolutely know that you're an expert on. You got it? There's something that you're like, I know this. And if somebody was going to argue with
No.
me about it, they would
Okay,
have a
hold on.
really hard time because I know
Something.
this, like I know this, like I
Let
know
me think.
this. It could be something inconsequential, something completely inconsequential.
Wow. See,
Don't, you don't have to tell me what it is, but you also can't acquiesce. I want it to be something
Do we have to tell
true.
everybody?
Don't just placate me. You
Or-
might her. Yep. And so if somebody tried to come at you and tell you were wrong
Okay.
about that and
You
tell
said
you
it's
you were doing
minor,
it
so I
wrong
got
or that
one.
you needed to see it a different way,
Okay.
would you have a problem standing in your conviction and knowing, right? You are an expert in using play to support the mental health of our children and teaching them inclusivity. So
And connection, teaching them how to connect with their adults in their life, which I was so lucky I had a grandmother who was that person for me,
awesome.
We
Let's hear from
lost
her
her
more
too
then.
early. So that's
I mean,
hard.
let's hear the things that she would
But
say to
she's one
you.
of the positive
So
voices in
my
my head.
point here is at connecting to
Yeah, exactly.
that conviction is the key here, right? Like there's a place in you where you can't come and question your ex. Bring that forward. And it's not about being arrogant. It's so many wonky messages about don't be so full of yourself. Well, my question always is, who should I be full of then? I mean, like, I should be full of me. This is my vessel. I'm not supposed to fill it with something else. Right now, you are full of a bunch of other things, other people's voices and rules and codes of conduct. And you have an opportunity. I'm not going to tell you have to do it. Have an opportunity to reclaim your life and your power, your expertise and your purpose. And it's so simple, starting with centering and giving yourself compassion, because we know, we're all really clear that you work really hard and try really hard and do your best all the time, right? And that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. And likely you're the only one putting it on yourself. So that's where the compassion part comes in. Even if it started somewhere else, you've taken up their job now. Every time you repeat those voices, you've now taken on the that they initially played. And so coming back to a centered and compassionate place where you can fully connect with yourself and the greater purpose and calling that you're here for. And then it's amazing how quiet the rest of the voices get. Take up all your own space starting from the inside out, and it pushes all those other people out. Not in a get away from me thing, but so that you're really taking up all your own space, and then they're around you in the periphery, but you're not living for them. Yeah, you do.
I'm going to be definitely replaying this. Thank you, Crystal, for
Well,
inviting me. I mean, this is amazing. I've been feeling that I have been learning about myself, especially over the last, 4 years. COVID really did shake up a lot. And I think that, and also having teenagers in the home, there's a lot of self-reflection there that happens.
there's a lot. But Michelle, I'll tell you, definitely replay this. I replayed
Yes.
my therapy session with Rhonda and I listened to it 3 times already. And there's a part where I keep finding myself, I just keep not doing what I need to be doing. And so this is why it's so great. We have this filmed. You can listen to it.
Yes.
And there's just,
It's not easy.
It's work. Like it is simple, like you said, Rhonda. And that it's not easy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's work and you need reminders, but this is where we get tools. Like Rhonda's giving you several tools and reframes and things that can really help support you as you move forward. It's just such a process. But this is another reason why I wanted you on the show, because you will do the work. Like you will see the changes. You will do the work. I've seen you do the work.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for you to have additional tools. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good. I just want to say that in Crystal opening up and, showing herself in her other podcast when I was really, that allowed me to, feel like, oh, I don't have to be perfect. She's telling people, that she's not good at this or that she worries about this. And that helped me to kind of be like, okay, because sometimes you only let people see the good side or whatever.
Mhm.
And then there are times when it's like, I showed my bad side, but then people want to brush it off a little bit. Like everybody goes through that, or, you want to have a close relationship with a loved one. Well, my loved one that's that role in my life died when they were younger, and I wish that they were still alive. Just be grateful you have that loved one in your life still, even though there's issues there or something, you know what I mean? Or like, I want to have the best relationship with my kids. And I opened my business so that I could be there for my kids. And I have done that. And now my kids are not at my home, and they're doing their lives and I am there and I want to be a cheerleader for them. But it's like, okay, I have more there for me now and I got to figure that out. I somewhat held myself back from doing more earlier because I really owned that position. I was in this, growth to a certain point, don't want to grow anymore because I want to be able to be there for my kids. And, I got into this point where I was like, I'll hustle and what's the good of that? I mean, when I went to the Oasis with Crystal, it's amazing exercise that she had us do. And she's having us really journal of what we wanted to see. Where were we 10 years from now? How old were we? All these different things, and writing a letter to ourselves and along the way and really understanding what do we want to be doing. It was eye-opening, and it's like, oh gosh,
starts
then
to
you start to
second-guess who?
second guess yourself a little like, oh, if I want to be doing that, this is what I have to do to
Said
get
you,
there,
not I.
If you start to, when I,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the 21
it's just a
the
kind of a
21 days is gonna really
reevaluation, finding
support
what I
you.
want.
My invitation
Because
to you,
yeah,
again, would be just
is
keep
it gonna
coming
help?
back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Catch yourself when you're external reference. Catch yourself when you're where you need to be other than right here, because if you're in the future or you're worried about somebody else, you've already left yourself in the here and now. And we can't create anything from anywhere but here and now within ourselves.
Wow. So true. So good.
Oh, it was
Rhonda,
so good.
that was so good. Oh, I needed to hear that too. That was so good. And Michelle, I just want to say, as we kind of come to a conclusion here,
Yes.
you said that my podcast helped you because I was open and vulnerable and shared some stuff on that show and it helped you. You're doing that exact same thing in this episode today. So you're helping somebody else know it's okay to open up. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there. It's okay to not abandon yourself. You're just doing a lot for people who are listening to this too. So thank you for putting yourself out there and doing this.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys. And I mean, Rhonda, I seriously have to listen back to what and write notes on what you said, because as I'm listening, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just, it is literally like a,
well,
what
there's
I'm
such a
hearing you
clue for
say.
you too, right? To pay attention to your
there's some
body
good
Or
and its response
reframe
and to
what I'm
relax.
thinking.
That means it's true. Truth doesn't make you like this. It makes you sit back and relax. So notice that as well. And I want to be really clear, Michelle, the reason that I know the things that I know is I was there. I was very conditioned in very codependent ways, very pleasing, very concerned and trained in terms of image and what it looks like and all of that. So anything I share is that expertise was hard won. And I was honed in the fires of those same things. So I absolutely understand. And I have some tools that will help.
Yeah. That's
So good.
well,
Ladies, Michelle, one thing that we do here as we sign off at Retail Therapy is we ask our guest impromptu if you have one piece of advice that you would give to a retailer listening as it relates to what we talked about today, what would that be?
do it afraid. That's a Crystal expression. And, and then actually for Jen's expression is start before you're ready, kind of thing. And I followed that a bit because I think you also embrace that concept. I'm not as consistent, but there's room for there's opportunity there, room for improvement. I think another thing that you say often is don't compare your chapter 20 to somebody else's chapter 1. I mean, again, if somebody else were telling me that, oh, they're afraid to like just go live on a camera, I'm like, oh, it gets easier as you do it. Don't, then I have to remind myself that when I think, oh, I'm going to do these other things that, I'm not sure how to do. It's like, okay, you don't have to be the expert. Just start it. Just start it.
Just
Yeah.
start.
Just start.
So true. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's always good advice.
And,
sometimes
I
that can also be
definitely,
the
I
hard thing.
still always come back to surround yourself with the best people. It's just a philosophy that I've had my whole life. And I really still do try that. That's something that's my own thing, that I always, that is hard though, because then if I'm putting myself in the room with all of these amazing people, sometimes then I don't quite feel like I'm as good as they are. So that's the tricky part of that. You're placing yourself there.
Michelle, you just gave us some really great advice.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you so much.
I'm going to go for a walk right now.
Yes, you're going to go for a walk. You're going to get into your body and get centered. Michelle, thank you for opening up, for sharing, for the advice you just gave us. And Rhonda, thank you so much for being here and supporting Michelle and our listeners. Ladies, I really appreciate you both.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm so grateful to know you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so grateful too. All right, everyone, remember that I'm rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Don't forget to join the Rise and Shine newsletter, which is social media news you need to know, sent via email every Monday morning. Go to crystalmediaco.com/rise to join. And don't miss the newest episode of Rooted in Retail, which drops every Sunday morning.